Ahern. My name is Elise Ahern, and my pronouns are she and her. I'm a 26-year-old female. I have white-colored skin, brown hair, shorter to my shoulders. Today, I'm wearing my Rush University Occupational Therapy Department sweatshirt, and I'm a capstone student attending Rush University for the occupational therapy program. I'm very excited to speak about my capstone experience that's at a Chicago-based architecture firm. And my project focuses on how occupational therapy can implement inclusive design to promote participation in everyday activities through architecture. All right. So throughout this presentation, we're going to explore what inclusive design is, the principles that are relevant to it and why it matters. We're going to look into how occupational therapy can advocate for inclusive design and occupation-focused design in non-traditional settings, such as an architecture firm. We will also analyze how occupational therapy practitioners can integrate inclusive design into their practice to promote accessibility and engagement in everyday activities. We will understand the value of inclusive design in occupational therapy and how it aligns with our goals for enhancing participation. And finally, I will share practical strategies for how OT practitioners can incorporate inclusive design principles into both a clinical and non-clinical setting. Right, so inclusive design is a practice of creating products, environments, and systems that are accessible to and usable by a wide range of individuals, including those with diverse abilities and needs. The goal of inclusive design is creating spaces and products that accommodate everyone, regardless of their age, ability, or background. Unlike traditional designs, which may only consider the needs of the quote-unquote average user, inclusive design places people at the heart of the process by acknowledging and embracing diversity. Inclusion design recognizes that everybody experiences the world in different ways and that there is no normal. It's about removing barriers to access and ensuring that all individuals can participate fully in society. By acknowledging diversity and differences of individuals, this design offers choice where a single design solution cannot accommodate all users. This promotes flexibility in use and provides buildings and environments that are convenient and enjoyable for use to everybody. So accessibility, universal design, and inclusive design are all relative concepts, but they focus on different aspects of creating environments, products, or systems that can be used by a diverse range of people. In terms of accessibility, this refers to specifically the ease of which people, especially those with individuals with disabilities, can access the use of particular environment, product, or services. It focuses on removing barriers that prevent people with impairments from fully participating in society. For universal design, this is about creating a single solution that is universally usable by as many people as possible without the need for adjustments or specific or special accommodations. Where inclusive design, this is a design process that seeks to ensure that everybody can participate fully in all of these activities, regardless of their abilities, background, or circumstances. It often seeks a broader, more flexible approach than accessibility, considering the diversity of the human experiences. Inclusive design is about considering and addressing a wide range of specific needs, especially from underrepresented or marginalized groups, and it often involves customization or options for different users. This also considers specific activities that takes place in each context and what supports there are to facilitate occupation. This includes the built environment, policies, communication, services that are within the environment, technology, processes, and schedules. This is observed through taking a step beyond the ADA compliance and collaborating with various professionals and the users to identify supports and barriers that impact the environment. So for these pictures, these are examples that kind of enhance the understanding of each concept. For accessibility, this picture here is an accessible entrance that is located in the back of a building. And it is with ADA compliance that it has an accessible entrance that it might be in the back of the building and it might be just out of the way. Where universal design, it offers two options for individuals to either take the ramp or to use the stairs. But for inclusive design, the picture all the way on the right, it shows a staircase that is going up onto a building and that everybody wants to use for a ramp. So this ramp is specifically designed for people with that is usable for people with wheelchairs, people of like elderly age, and also individuals that might have like low tone, but everybody will be able to use this this ramp, and it is embedded for everybody to want to use this ramp. Now that we have a better understanding for inclusive design, let's explore 6 key principles that help guide effective inclusive design. Design should be valuable and accessible for people with diverse abilities, and this includes individuals with disabilities, temporary impairments, or situational limitations, like a wheelchair ramp benefiting both for those people with wheelchairs or parents with strollers. For flexibility in use, users should have options that suit their needs and preferences. For example, this is an example of like adjustable desks to accommodate people who prefer to sit or stand while working. A product should also easily be used regardless of their experience, language skills, or cognitive abilities. Clear instructions and logical layouts enhance usability for everybody. This approach aligns with providing educational handouts for clients receiving occupational therapy services, ensuring that the content is at a 4th grade literacy level. Information should also be presented in multiple ways to accommodate different sensory abilities, such as a crosswalk signals for people that have visual and auditory cues. And also design should minimize mistakes and make them easy to correct. Features like the undo button in software or guardrails on ramps help users to recover from error safely. Products should also have low physical effort and require minimal exertion to use, making them accessible for individuals with mobility limitations. Automatic doors are a great example for this principle in action. By integrating these principles, we create a safe environment and environments and experiences that empower everybody. Inclusive design isn't just about accessibility, it's also making everyday participation achievable for all. There are various stages to achieve inclusive design approach, and these stages consist of manage, explore, create, and evaluate. Each stage ensures the final product meets the needs for a diverse range of users while maintaining effectively and efficiency. For manage, this stage sets the strategy based on project goals and available resources. It ensures efficient resource use, eliminates biases, and improves communication along stakeholders to refine and design process. For explore, we want to ensure that research and analysis are conducted to understand user needs. This includes identifying stakeholders, observing consumer behavior, and defining key product features. Some tools that may include journey maps, different persona empathy maps, and problem-solving techniques to help ensure this phase. We also want to create by collecting insights that are transformed into a prototype or an environment. This design can be simple and flexible and also adaptable, allowing for future improvements based on evaluation results. And overall, we want to evaluate, make sure that the prototype or the environment is tested against a set criteria with feedback from experts and consumers. By following these stages, we can ensure to help develop an inclusive, user-friendly design that caters to a diverse audience, ensuring accessibility and requirements are always achieved. When going through the stages, it's also important to consider the user's needs in order to identify the supports we can implement to make sure their journey is more inclusive. For the physical needs, we want to focus on factors such as mobility, strength, flexibility, dexterity, and reach. For cognitive needs, we want to focus on memory, problem solving, communication, recognition, and attention throughout the user's needs throughout the environment. And also within the environment, we want to focus on the user's sensory needs. This might consider sight, hearing, touch, smell, and taste that may impact their experience. As occupational therapists, we play a pivotal role in advocating for inclusive design, especially within an architecture setting. Our deep understanding of our human function abilities and needs positions us for strong advocates for creating spaces and supporting participation, as we know how to critically analyze how individuals interact within their environment. For user-designed insights, occupational therapists work directly with individuals with disabilities, the aging population, and those with temporary impairments. This expertise can help architects design spaces to promote comfort, safety, and ease for everybody. For accessibility beyond compliance, while architecture follows accessibility regulations, occupational therapists provide a real-world insight to go beyond the minimum standards. This includes improving wheelchair maneuverability, enhancing sensory-friendly environments, and designing adaptive workspaces. OTs also help ensure that spaces are practical for everybody to use, advised on overall highlighting the importance of functional accessibility and ensuring adequate space for mobility devices, tactile signage, and those with visual impairments and auditory cues for individuals with hearing impairments. For individuals with sensory sensitivities, such as those with individuals with autism or individuals with PTSD, occupational therapists can help architects design adjustable lighting to reduce sensory overload, can help inform about trauma-designed approaches, acoustic control and minimize noise distractions, and also promote calming areas for emotional regulation and relaxation. OTs also contribute to designing homes that support independence as people age. This design also plays a role into aging in place and adaptive housing. We also have an ergonomic understanding to help us put in our knowledge into workplace and public space adaptations by providing universal access to restrooms and common areas. Additionally, before finalizing architectural plans, occupational therapists can help test prototypes that gather feedback for diverse users, ensuring that designs are not only accessible, but also functional and user-friendly. So by architects collaborating with occupational therapists, we can create spaces that empower people for all abilities, promoting independence, inclusion, and dignity for everybody. The OT domain and process begins with understanding each individual client's unique needs, preferences, and abilities. And this aligns with inclusive design's focus on bracing for diversity. Occupational therapists use this framework, which emphasizes a client-centered approach to access how clients can achieve optimal well-being, health, and participation through life's meaningful engagements in their occupations. One important aspect of this process is analyzing the environment and context in which clients live, work, and engage in their activities. And this directly translates into architecture, as occupational therapists can evaluate how physical spaces impact functionality and performance patterns and skills, allowing them to recommend accommodations that can be built into the environment to support diverse populations and conditions. This also aligns with inclusive design, as it stresses that environments should be usable by as many people as possible. OT practitioners break down tasks through task analysis, determining how to best support clients by adjusting tasks and environments to meet their needs. The OD process also includes evaluation, intervention, and outcomes, which is a cycle that that allows for continuous feedback from clients to refine and improve design solutions, ensuring that they meet the evolving needs. Advocacy also plays a key role throughout this process, as OTs help ensure the flexibility is built into the design solutions and advocating for the client's needs by directly supporting inclusive design principles for accommodating diversity and abilities over time. One model that also correlates to inclusive design that is used within my capstone experience that we help understand architects, that we help translate into architects' understanding is the PEOP model, which is the Person Environment Occupational Performance model. And it aligns closely with inclusive design, especially within the architecture setting, as it's based on the dynamic interaction between the person, the environment, occupation, and their performance. This model particularly focuses on how individuals perform meaningful activities and engage in their environment, which is central to their goals of inclusive design and architecture. This model emphasizes on the unique physical, cognitive, emotional, and sensory aspects of an individual. And in architecture, this will help focus on an understanding and design environments that accommodate for all individuals. Another model that we use within the architecture setting to help architects improve their designs within their environment is the MOHO, which is the Model of Human Occupation model. This is another widely used occupational therapy framework that focuses on the understanding of how individuals engage in meaningful activities, such as their occupations, and how various factors influence the ability to perform in their daily life, such as their volition and their habituation. This is relevant when discussing inclusive design in an architectural environment context, as it helps frame how people's actions are shaped by their volition, the motivation, habituation, which are their roles and routines, and their performance capability, whether it's physical or cognitive abilities. Many architects and designers may not fully understand the role of occupational therapy, and if they do, they may associate it solely within a clinical setting. However, OTs play a critical role in advocating for clients and users by ensuring that spaces go beyond the basic accessibility standards to foster true inclusivity. Consulting within an architectural firms not only enhances the usability of built environments, but it also expands on the profession into non-traditional settings. And this promotes occupational justice, which is the right for all individuals to engage in meaningful occupations. Incorporating inclusive design also enhances the opportunity for access intimacy, which emphasizes the emotional, cognitive, and interpersonal aspects of truly understanding and anticipating access needs. Access intimacy is a feeling of being genuinely understood and having one's access needs anticipated, whether applied in a design process or within a clinical setting such as a hospital, nursing facilities, or home care. It fosters a holistic approach that enables all individuals to engage within their environment and comfort the ease, which inclusive design will help promote as well. Throughout my capstone experience in an architecture setting, I've had the opportunity to engage with implementing inclusive design principles throughout various forms. One way we've helped involved with identifying supports and barriers within inclusive design features on projects is through an inclusive design checklist. And this we applied throughout Chicagoland area, such as metro stations that the architecture firm is up and coming with. We also have collaborated with architects on projects that involved an elevated transit connector platform, which provides recommendations for inclusive design features to promote independence for participation for users with low vision. Currently, we're also working on creating a sensory room at an airport to assist individuals with neurodiverse needs throughout their travel experience. And also, additionally, there's an inclusive design team at this architecture firm, And they are creating guidelines that assists architects understand what inclusive design features can be promoted within their projects. So some examples that I've experienced on my capstone is going through the on-site observations and evaluating different scenarios that we can identify as supports and barriers for architects to be aware about and to promote into their upcoming projects. These are some pictures here that we've taken on the site observations. And I wanted to ask the audience here if they notice different supports or barriers that might be implemented within these pictures at metro stations. One instance that I pointed out at architects is showing different signages for inclusive design. Different signages are located on the left where it shows the Grand Metro Station, the blue line from going to Forest Park and the different stops, and also on the right where it shows the Metro map and providing an overview of it. Another main finding during our on-site observations, we're looking at accessibility. And this picture on the left shows an accessible entrance at the metro station. This entrance here shows signage indicating a supportive ramp to metro trains. However, the entrance is not as accessible as it could be. As you see here, there is a rope located next to the doorway, and the rope that shows here is a barrier because the rope is providing we'll have to latch to provide the opening to the door. And that it can often cause a barrier for participating in an ease of inclusive design because automatic doors would help promote a much quicker and safer entry for individuals. The picture on the right is a support for inclusive design as it helps users understand the different station elevator statuses, and it is updated daily. And it also provides the last update time and the date. This will help users understand what elevators are out of services and help plan their commute. And this is an example of inclusive design by providing services and communication for them. On this next picture here, inclusive design supports that are promoted within this picture are providing safety information. There are signage located at these metro stations that are in different languages and that are also in a literacy level for individuals to understand to dial 911 if there's a safety concern or a crime that they need police assistance for. And this is provided in different languages such as English and Spanish. Other signage for inclusive design to help promote safety is located on the bottom. There is a yellow signage for individuals to make sure to hold their children, to make sure for safety within this realm.
Elise?
Yes.
Those are actually CTA stations and not Metro stations.
Oh, yeah, CTA stations. Thank you so much, Francisco. Also at CTA stations, the picture on the bottom is a signage that promotes inclusive design for individuals that helps using the gate entry. And that will be for people that have strollers, luggage, and also bicycles. And this helps ease individuals using to use the gate to ease further participation when using CTA stations. And so they will not have to go through the polls when entering the station. Other features within this station is a safety feature with inclusive design, providing a blue light for individuals with possible hearing impairments and also a visual impairment. And located on the right is more examples on the services for ticketing booths. And while we're at the station, there are also employees there helping users use the ticketing booth that have that might not understand the technology of the service. And even though technology is provided there as another example of a support for inclusive design. One other example we saw at our site observations was providing a comfort zone at this station. This comfort zone is located at an outdoor station while people are waiting for their transits. And this provides a heating station, but one thing that we recommended was providing seating areas that can help individuals whether they're on their travels and to seek more comfort within their travels. Another project that we were going through at my capstone is helping architects with an elevated transit connector platform. And they wanted to seek for more recommendations to help users with low vision within the platform. And recommendations that we provided for them was providing tactile maps for them to understand the environment surfaces, and also implementing tactile domes for individuals with low vision that utilize a cane to help them understand safety precautions and directional changes within the environment. Another experience during my capstone involved collaborating with architects with an airport sensor room. This is a valuable experience, enhance the travel experience for individuals with neurodivergent needs, as airports can be overstimulating for environments, particularly for those with autism. Our recommendations for the architects focus on incorporating sensory elements that help support self-regulation, including active and interactive features that address various sensory needs. Examples of this included tactile wall activities, projector-based visual and vestibular engagement, and also acoustic sensory considerations and otherwise a noisy airport environment to provide an environment to promote emotional regulation. Another way to support inclusive design is through advocacy, and that's where occupational therapy comes in within an architecture firm. Within this specific architecture firm, there's an inclusive design team that is currently developing an inclusive design guidelines to help educate architects in inclusive design strategies across all phases of their architectural processes. This involves planning, programming, and construction for the post-occupancy evaluation. Additionally, this guideline promotes a scoring rubric for individuals to identify projects that has significant opportunities for impactful inclusion strategies. And this includes practical checklists, considerations, and recommendations for inclusive design elements that such as circulation, wayfinding, materials, lighting, acoustics, accessibility, and sensory needs. Within this capstone experience, there is also another capstone student that is currently being conducting measures for architects' understanding of sensory processing. Throughout her project, it was discovered that architects are not required to go beyond ADA and specific client or local codes and specifications. And that's where occupational therapy comes in, as advocacy is vital. When architects were asked how familiar they are with sensory processing challenges, some said that they are somewhat familiar with it. 42.6% 46.2% said they're somewhat familiar with it. However, 23.1% said that they're not familiar. And for very familiar and familiar, 15.4% were familiar with sensory processing challenges. Oops. Another question was asked if they've ever received feedback from clients or users regarding sensory friendly designs, features within their designs, and 84.6% said no, where 15.4% said yes. And this provides us opportunities to advocate for those sensory friendly design features. So overall, there are some practical strategies where occupational therapy practitioners can reference and integrate inclusive designs into their practice. A vital component is to stay informed, to keep update with best practices in inclusive design, such as reading articles, attending conferences, and connecting to professionals in designs with architectural fields. We also want to be aware of our implicit biases, as it allows us to recognize and counteract unconscious assumptions that might exclude or disadvantage certain users. When working with clients, we always want to advocate for their needs in terms of both function accessibility, ensuring their homes, workplaces, and sensory environments are designed exclusively. We always want to seek opportunities within traditional settings or when making home modifications for clients, and OT practitioners can apply inclusive design principles such to help ensure participation. Even in a non-clinical setting, OT professionals can advocate within inclusive design policies. This might include recommending that local governments and businesses adopt accessibility standards, or when they develop inclusive community programs. We also want to collaborate across all disciplines when working with architects, designers, urban plannings, and other professionals to influence the design for physical spaces, products, and systems that are accessible for all. If you're interested in learning more of inclusive design, these are a couple readings to further educate yourself over this topic. One is a book called Mismatch for How Inclusion Shapes Design. This is by Kat Holmes. Another example for this is the Autism Friendly University Guide, Design Guide. And another is from AOTA with Inclusive Environments, Home, Work, Public Spaces, Technology, and Specialty Environments within Occupational Therapy Practices. So to wrap up, inclusion design is not about designing for people with disabilities. It's about designing for everybody. As OT practitioners, we have a unique role in promoting and advocating for inclusive design to create environments that enhance participation and engagement in daily life. Throughout this presentation, we explored the understanding of inclusive design, its importance in creating environments that are accessible to all by incorporating inclusive design principles and advocating for their importance. As occupational therapy practitioners, we play a role in advocating for inclusive design and occupation-focused solutions within design and in traditional and non-traditional settings such as architecture industries. And OT professionals can implement inclusive design principles to enhance accessibility and promote engagement in everyday activities, ensuring that all individuals can participate fully in life. Inclusive design is fundamental to OT practice as it aligns with our primary goal, such as enhancing participation and promote high quality of life for all individuals, regardless of their abilities. And there are numerous strategies for integrating inclusive design into OT practice, both a clinical and non-clinical settings, ensuring that design decisions prioritize accessibility and participation. Throughout advocacy, collaboration, and practical implementation of inclusive design principles, we can ensure that individuals, regardless of their abilities, have an opportunity to fully engage in the activities that are meaningful to them. All right, before we go into the Q&A portion of this presentation, I would like to ask all of the attendees to participate in this very short survey within the QR code. And I'll also drop the link into the chat too to help if that is easy for you all as well. So one moment, oops. So I'll leave that up there. And while we're taking the survey, I did want to ask if there's any questions about this presentation. And let's see. I will go ahead and drop the link as well into this chat. Mm. And please let me know if you have any technical difficulties within it accessing this link as well. Let's see here.
Lise, did you put the link in the chat yet?
Let's see. I think I did. I might have to. Let's see where. I'm having technical difficulties as well. Let's see here.
Just my internet's slow and the form's not pulling
Oh,
up.
here we go. Right here.
Thank you.
Please let me know if that works.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, I got a quick question, and it's, you know, I've been involved in this a little bit, but one of the things, and this is kind of a broad question for you and for others maybe that are participating in the presentation, is, you know, even the inclusive design that efforts that are made that, you know, you highlighted as being good examples of inclusive design. They were good and great, but they were just like one element of a of the context, one element of the environment. And it seems like they're just kind of like placed there potentially in an environment that more broadly is not inclusive. I'd like to get your perspective on that and what you think. Is that an accurate takeaway? Is an accurate perception? Yeah.
Yeah, so the environments that I showed before, they were already created within like out and our job was to go into seeing what kind of supports and barriers were there. And that way the architects can take note of that within the observation checklists, and they will be able to provide the supports within future projects and also be aware of the barriers that were already sought out through within the environment and how to best approach those barriers in their future projects as well. So kind of bring awareness to how we can promote inclusive designs with them, of taking the supports and still promoting them, but also taking the barriers and providing solutions within the environment. So such as going through asking users how best can we make this user journey more accessible and more inclusive, and also providing feedback from like employees too, with like common things that we found like that they found within the environment that were barriers, and how we can best provide supports for them. So one example of that was that we asked at a CTA station, we asked an employee, what's the most common question that you get from users? And their answer to that was wayfinding. So like people were confused about what direction to go to for whether it was like at it was at a CTA station or if they need to go to the metro. And we provided that to the architects, saying that like one thing that we could do is providing different forms of wayfinding signages to help provide their user journey more at ease.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks.
I agree with Laura. So when these buildings and spaces were designed, there was no occupational therapist involved. So there's really nobody with that expertise who can look into the different types of needs in a way that more inclusive design features can be implemented. And that's the reason why we have this advocacy to have more OT involvement in the design of our built environment, because it's really important. If we want these public spaces to be truly public, then we have to consider all the different needs, considering all, the diversity of our population as well.
Definitely. Yes, thank you so much, Francisco.
I put a quick question in the chat, Elise. I would be really interested to hear what you would recommend for an OT practitioner who's interested in working with an architecture firm, kind of based off your own experiences. What would you recommend for folks?
Yeah, I think Francisco can definitely answer this question too. But one thing that he's taught me was using like going out and like advocating for yourself, going throughout and going to connection opportunities like such as LinkedIn, and also providing yourself like communicating our expertise to this kind of setting and help bringing awareness to it. And I think that that's an important role for like a consultation um, service. And it's also like beneficial, providing them this expertise, and also it's kind of like a hand-in-hand collaboration with it. And one thing that Laura mentioned too is that something that it helps bring to their awareness is that they when creating these services, it allows them to what was it specifically? It promotes like once designing the process, it helps promote success early on, and that way they don't have to go back and redo connections or redo like corrections, and it provides that inclusive platform from the beginning, so that way they don't have to go back and like redo work.
Yeah, I can add to that. For occupational therapists wanting to be in this field, I think it's important to recognize our strength, that we have a good understanding of how people interact with their environment. And I think it's important to showcase that and make sure that we convey that message to architects and designers and really explain it to them in a way that's easier for them to understand and not being so clinical about it. Another way that you can find a role in the design industry, as Elisa mentioned, is to be in the environment where designers are. It could be a design event, it could be a webinar, and really interacting with designers and architects so that they will know that there is actually an expertise looking at these things.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. If there's not any more questions, but if you have any more questions, I'll go ahead and go to the next part of my survey. I wanted to thank you all so much for coming today, and I left my email there. It is my first name, ELISE_C_A_HEARN@rush.edu. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me at my email, and I appreciate you all so much for being here today and taking the time to be here. This means a lot to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elisa, for helping set this up.
Yes, thank you so much, Elisa.
Yeah, no, thank you, Elise, for sharing your work and Francisco as well. Um, the last thing I just wanted to quickly mention is that the Occupational Therapy and Displaced Size Network, we do have a new website. It's still not quite fully kind of perfect, but it is available. So I just wanted to kind of put that in the chat. It's otdsnetwork.org. We'll definitely have more information for folks who are interested down the road to check out the resources. But you're welcome to take a look now. Just know it's still not quite as polished as we'd hope, but there is some really great info on there. So check it out and stay tuned. And again, this recording of this webinar will be available on our YouTube channel. So we really appreciate Elise again sharing her experience and expertise, and hope everybody has a great rest of their day.
Thank you so much.